Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, a little upset. We kind of had to push this into the schedule a little earlier this week, everybody, because Chris is too busy to hang out with me later in the week, apparently. Throw the invite
Well, give
there,
me a call.
get shot down. It's okay. It's all right. I'll remember this.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's all right. We're talking about we're here for episode 94, guys, and this week we're going to be talking about the new comic books that came out for the week of September 13th, 2023. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You can come through and check these videos out every week as they come out. You can also follow us on Instagram to be kind of updated as to when those episodes do come out, because sometimes depending on our schedule, they come out different days. And like this week, we got this one out early here this week. But yeah, just follow us at Late Night Collectors Community on Instagram, or check out our playlist here or the other videos that we have to offer on our YouTube channel here. Spoiler warning, we are going to be talking about what happens in the books here today. We are going to be showing off some art. Again, just because we kind of put this one out a little bit earlier this week due to our schedules. We don't have art for every like kind of book that we're going to be talking about this week. So a little bit limited on the art side of things. Also, some things we just didn't have time to read in time for the show that we had planned on talking about here today. So, stay tuned. Maybe we'll mention them another time if we didn't get to them this week, or, we'll catch up on the next issue type of thing. There'll be some things like Chris is talking about that I would be meaning to read, vice versa, that kind of thing. Chris didn't get his books this week from his store. They didn't have it ready for him. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a weird, interesting week, but still, we're here to talk about comics, and comics will be talked about. All right, Chris. That all being said.
All right, well, let's talk comics. Cheers.
Comics. Cheers. Kind of stepped on your line.
Hold on a second. I'm missing a beer here. Oh, I already opened it. My bad. Sorry. Cheers. I got a bunch of empties on my table.
That's from last episode. Cheers. Cheers again. Yeah, there we go. And I didn't have one from last episode, so here we go. We're back, everybody. With this early episode and the late episode we did last week, I think it's only been a couple of days.
I think so.
All right, guys. First up on the docket here today, we got Daredevil #1. Got this cover, the regular John Romita cover here.
I got the regular cover too. There's supposed to be an Archer Electric cover, but that's what I ordered. But I don't know. I don't even think I've even seen it out there. So
yeah,
maybe that was
Price. The new writer Saladin Ahmed now taking over for Chip Zdarsky.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not 100% sold, but I'm not 100% out either. I'm not big on his, this Padre Matt Murdock, but I don't think it's going to last long because it looks like he's remembering his past pretty quickly. And the art here, I think it's something that would grow on me. It's not bad, but I don't know if it's a Daredevil art. It's not. It seems too clean and too nice. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the art?
Yeah, Aaron Cooter, the artist on here, I don't mind him. It looks like already, like after the first 3 issues, though, they have another artist coming in already. So I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with the monthly schedule of this. I think after 2 or 3 issues, they already have another one solicited, another artist who I like. I don't mind Aaron Cooter's stuff, but you're right. I don't know if he's right for Daredevil. He's got a weird style. It's very irregular. Even like his figure work is a little bit different and weird looking. Like, and I don't, and like you said, it's kind of clean in places. I don't mind it. I don't mind it, but you're right. I don't know if it's the right, depends how weird and what kind of stuff they're going to end up doing with this run of Daredevil. It really, like, an issue with them just sitting around talking like we saw in this issue though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, there's some action scenes in this. Obviously, they're trying to rehash what happened and stuff previous to this. But here's the thing: I don't think he's bad, but I agree with you in the sense that, like, would I be upset if another artist came and replaced him? Absolutely not. And I'm also on the fence with this take so far. This first issue, I'm gonna give it the first arc. My takeaway from this is that I don't love this whole thing with him being the priest. they seem to be reeling back from it already by the end of this issue, but whether or not they're going to commit to that or try to keep all these fucking balls in the air at the same time, that's what's going to make it or break it for me. Because if he's going to try to have it where he has his cake and eat it too, he's Daredevil and he's a priest and we have Elektra and we have, like, you know what I mean? Like, Zdarsky did all this shit when he was juggling a lot of balls in the air at the same time, but at the end of the day, he was still Daredevil, right? He had all these other things happening, but like, if you're going to sell me on the fact that Elektra's out there Daredeviling still outside of Zdarsky's run, and then now you have like demons and he's a priest.
Yeah, I want to see Daredevil fight some, like, just some villains, like, you know, because even during that whole Chip Zdarsky run, he was never really fighting any villains. You know, he was there trying to battle the Hand or whatever. I just wanted, like, you know, if this was Born Again, I want to see him back to business, not, you know, right off the bat he's fighting some freaking demon, and there's what's this demon talking about, that he's lazy and there's more, you know, there's more demons to come. It's not really encouraging, you know. Like, the only thing encouraging is that, you know, in some of the solicitations of the future, Bullseye might be showing up, and, you know, hopefully things are sorted by then.
And that's always fun. But then but that's the thing. You said Born Again there. Like, then you get shades of this where he's running around with the black. It kind of is the black suit because he's got the priest thing on.
Yeah.
He's got the thing wrapped around.
The black suit, but it's not the black suit.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. And then, like, even this demon, like, he's wearing like the yellow and red Daredevil suit, which is kind of cool. Like, there's some interesting things going on here, but like, as a whole, I didn't love this issue. I think it was okay, but I don't know. I'm going to give it the arc. I like Daredevil a lot. I'm always willing to give it the arc. I just don't know if because like you said, they're wavering on the fact of this whole priest thing, but I don't know if they're committed to dropping it as a plot thread altogether. I don't know. And if that's what we're going to be seeing here, he's going to be a priest by day, Daredevil by night. I don't know if I'm in for that.
I don't know about that. I'd rather have the lawyer Daredevil than the priest.
Yeah, like, I know, like, again, it's not so off base that it doesn't make sense for Daredevil because there's always been that whole the Catholicism kind of religious stuff in the book. But I also feel like it's better as a backdrop to the character and like a history of the character instead of it being like the main plot where he's like, I'm a priest now, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't know if I'm into that. So,
well, it's even that line, you know, when I guess they're kind of, I don't know if they're writing Elektra out of the plot, but, you know, Elektra's like, you know, he's like, oh, I can't go back to the way things were because, you know, that would be, you know, against whatever the divine plan is. And freaking 10 panels or, you know, a few pages later, he's climbing up to his hidden box of his Daredevil costume, going back to the path that he, you know, that he said he wouldn't do. And, you know, he's like, okay, well, then I'll see you later. I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't, it doesn't seem like he wants to relinquish any of the plot idea, like any of the ideas.
Yeah, like, I don't think Daredevil really wants to be in this story.
So, and at the same time, it's like he does have Elektra out there on the streets being Daredevil. So, like, Zdarsky again made it work, like, in the way that he presented everything. But now, like, it seems like that's the thing. He left a lot of shit going on with the character for this guy to have to clean up. And in one oversized issue, I think it's still a bit like you're not going to do that in one issue, right? So that's why I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll give him this first arc and see where it goes. But like, there's a lot to play with. But I think he needs to let go of some things and like establish his
own story. That's it.
Yeah. So like, that's why I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for this issue. And yeah, like you said, if Bullseye's coming up, I'm looking forward to that. I always enjoy a good Bullseye appearance. So, what would you give this then out of 5?
Yeah, it's 3.5 for me.
Same. All right, Chris, Venom 25.
Venom 25. This is a big one. I think it was like a oversized issue. What, a $7.99 issue?
Nice.
And you got Venom and Dr. Doom or whatever, Bedlam or whoever Eddie Brock is there. And I think at the end of the last issue, you know, Eddie Brock went to Dr. Doom to try and get a hold of his time machine. And, you know, as they're sort of battling, they activated the time machine. So this is sort of the fallout of that issue. And basically here they're just popping through time and just kind of all these wacky things are going on. And just the conversations or the dialogue between Doom and Eddie Brock, I think it's great in this one. I don't know who wrote this one. Oh yeah, it's a bunch of different writers. It looks like it was, and there's just some fun stuff in here. I think the first time they went back in time to like a prehistoric age, And, they're just arguing about it to each other about the time machine and how it's going to get fixed and what they're going to do about it. And then a demon or a venomized T-Rex pops out. And then, as they kind of get their time machine fixed and they move to another era, that T-Rex turns out to be Meridius. Well, whatever. I don't know how that storyline's going. Then they end up in like World War II, and there's their callbacks to that Flexo that turned out to be another symbiote, and he was on his way to kill Hitler, but then Eddie Brock calling for help, and him being a symbiote, he can't deny the call, so he gets pulled, he gets sidetracked from his mission, and Eddie Brock's all worried about this, and he's telling Doom, we gotta go back in time so I don't call him. And then Doom's like, oh, you're just a novice time traveler. Whatever's happens. It's all happened already. It's going to happen again. And then the best part was I think they went into a recent past era where Doom ends up meeting himself, a younger version of Doom.
That's always fun.
And that was just awesome.
Yeah, I bet.
You just see that the older Doom sees the younger Doom is such an ass.
I was gonna ask, is the younger Doom? Let me guess, the younger Doom is even more of a dick than the present Doom, right? Yeah, of course, because he's.
Yeah, but then the older Doom goes, "Oh, you must be a lesser Doom, even though you're me, because you're not as old. You don't have as much experience."
I am Doom.
And then either Doom it is. Even if the older Doom could give him the keys to the universe, the younger Doom wouldn't accept it because he doesn't believe the older Doom is him, even though he kind of proves it. And so that was that's some priceless conversation there. Then you have the scene where Eddie Brock runs into a young Peter Parker, and I think Ben Parker just died recently, so they have a bit of interaction there. And as overall, there's a lot of stuff going on. And Kang comes up in the end. There's a whole bunch of stories there with Kang and Doom talking to each other about time travel, and then Kang's doing all these sort of tricks to bring himself out. I don't know. I thought it was a decent 25th issue, and I'm happy to have finally a good Venom issue.
That sounds awesome. I love Kang.
Yeah, if you get a chance to read this one, it's a good one.
Kang and Doom in the same issue, sign me up. I might have to check it out. Yeah, I also read something online that said something like it was a blurb that I seen. I didn't click on the article, but I guess it's related to this issue. I didn't realize. They said that there's something now they referenced in this issue about the Grunwald universe, which I guess, or timeline, which is.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of trying to explain, how time travel.
Right.
And all this sort of stuff.
But Mark Grunwald was a writer at Marvel back in the day. So I think the article was alluding to the fact that they reference an actual timeline that's called the Grunwald timeline or something along those lines.
Yeah,
which is kind of a cool nod to an older writer type of thing, right? So that's kind of neat. It just sounds like a lot of fun. I always a fan of time travel and this kind of shit, right? So that's good.
No, it's a great issue. I loved it. I'd give this one. I'll give it a 4.25.
Nice. Next up, we got X-Force 44, which I just read just before we ended up recording here today digitally. I haven't read this, I think, in like 20 issues or so, probably since like the start of whenever Wolverine was doing the Point Break type shit that we've talked about before. I've been off this book. And then I have been enjoying Ben Percy's Wolverine lately. I've read like the last arc of that with I guess it's not Dark Beast, but whatever, that beast, the fucked up scientist beast. Which is basically Beast, I guess. But yeah, I've been reading that arc, which was really good with all the Wolverine clones and all that. And then I know Chris was saying like he thinks, or I guess you've been reading it off the show. Yeah. You've been reading Force lately. That it's been good lately. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll check it out because I have been enjoying his Wolverine. So maybe he's kind of come back around and has been putting on some good stuff in this series too. This was a fun issue. This was it's kind of like not co-op, like a Black Ops type of like a mission there. Because I know that's what X-Force is. Domino is basically the main focus of this issue, and she goes and has to like run some kind of mission in a fucking like Russian bathhouse of all places. And if you watch action movies, that's always a great place for a showdown, right? So yeah, she goes into this Russian bathhouse and she shoots up some people, or sorry, sticks a gun in a couple of guys' mouths trying to get information. It's them against Orcus, but also the fact that Peter Colossus essentially is also working with Russians that are working with Orcus. I guess you would know more about that storyline than I do right now. Currently, that's been going on in the book. But yeah, some interesting stuff going on there. I enjoyed it. I thought the art was good. She went back, she got injured during the fight, and then they scooped her up. And then there's that other guy, Sage was there, and then there's that other dude. I forgot what his name is. It's the guy that's like, he used to be connected to Krakoa. He's like Irish or something. I forgot his name, but he used to be like part of Krakoa.
Cypher? No.
Maybe that's the guy that steals people's powers. No,
No, Cypher's the guy that, he can just read languages.
Blackjack.
I know. Black Tom or something, or
Black Tom. That's it.
Yeah.
Blackjack. Yeah, Black Tom. Yeah, that guy. He like has to patch her up, and they talk about the fact that he's no longer connected to Krakoa, because before he used to be kind of like like he was able to like do stuff with the land and stuff like that, because he's got like some powers like that, and now he's no longer connected to Krakoa whatsoever. So yeah, just some interesting things that I guess I've been missing out on that have been going on in the book as of lately. So I'm not up to speed on everything, but it was a fun adventure issue, sort of like action kind of packed adventure type. So I really enjoyed it, and yeah, maybe I'll continue. We'll see. I give it a 3.75 out of 5. Next up, we got Batman and Robin #1, and unfortunately for you, Chris, you weren't able to pick up your copies today. So there's the Archer cover for you that I believe you've pre-ordered.
Right. That's the one I should be getting.
So there you go.
Is this White Rabbit a character that's been around before? Or is this somebody new?
I mean, there's White Rabbits in both Spider-Man and Batman and Robin now, apparently. I've never seen this character before. That doesn't exist. But there is a lot of animal-related villains in this issue, as you know. So anyways, actually, I do have the art for this one. I'm going to bring this up. What'd you think of this one?
Well, I thought the art for this one was great. And the only thing that got me out of this was sort of that this timeline. It's supposed to be running sort of concurrent to what's going on, or at least shortly after, because they do reference the Gotham War that's going on, and it's so dark and moody, and here he's like cheerful and joking around. It's like, that's the only thing that didn't sort of jive with me. But the story, it's a decent Batman story, but I don't know if this needs to be on its own mini series writing now. This could be the freaking backup stories to whatever's going on in there. That's the only thing that's getting me, but I thought it was okay. I do like the characters, of whatever, the White Rabbit there. She's got her Black Rabbits that are her henchmen. So I guess Selena Kyle's plan isn't really working to effect, because there's still henchmen out there for hire.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the highlight of this issue is definitely the artist on this, Simone DeMeo, who, if you recall, that's the guy I told you that I showed who drew the Doctor Strange head sketch in my book. Is this guy?
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I really love his art style. It's kind of big and bombastic and kind of animated style, and it looks really good. He really has a great, like, the way he draws, like, the angles of the action scenes that he does. I think in his panels, like, his panel layouts are really interesting. It's kind of like all in your face, like, constantly. I feel like even on like a page that's not a splash page, like, just even like the way that the car looks here and it's busting out in this one scene. Like, I don't know. He's got a really nice, clean, kind of animated kind of style, I feel like, and I really dig it. Like, again, like, just the way that it's almost like the camera view almost. Like, I like how he kind of has these up shots and down shots and stuff of the pages when he does these spreads, right? Anyways, but yeah, outside of the art, the story's fine. I mean, I read a lot of Batman titles. This is a basic Batman storyline so far, but I agree with you, because I also felt like he's kind of jokey and a little more lighthearted in this book, and maybe it doesn't align with Batman as we know him, or at least currently. But I will say, like, that has to be this book's angle, I feel like, because like you do get that father-son type stuff going on in this. And honestly, that was the best part about the issue, I thought, was him catching up with Damian a little bit in this issue. So if that's kind of what they're going for with this Batman and Robin series, I might be on board. I don't know if I'm, I might just read this digitally. I think I have the first 2 issues pre-ordered, so we'll see how the next one is. But like, because again, I read a lot of Batman books, so I think it's hard to keep me on. You have to but the artist is really good, so I might continue to pick up the issues. So I don't know. What'd you give this out of 5 then?
Well, for art, I definitely give this a 4 or higher, but I'll give it a 3.5. I can't 3.75. I'll push it up for the art.
That's what I'm giving it, a 3.75. Yeah. Are you going to continue with this, or maybe digitally, or pick it up
for the cover? But I'll probably read it digitally. It's still a good-looking comic.
Yeah. Speaking of good-looking comics, I didn't get a chance to read this week, and I believe is this the Man-Thing issue? It is. Pardon me? Is this the Man-Thing issue?
The Swamp Thing. Oh yeah, Man-Thing. Sorry, Swamp Thing. Yeah. But it's not done by Nick Klein.
Oh no! What are they doing?
I know.
Why did they waste them on that first 3 fucking issues then? And then they get the Man
Thing. Yeah, they gave him a break and get him onto it. But the artist they brought in, I thought the art was still decent in the comics. It's not like they chunked out. I'm just trying to pull up the comic and take a look here. The heck? Oh yeah, Travel Foreman.
Oh, I like Travel Foreman. Yeah, that's a good pick for Man-Thing, actually. His art's really weird looking. Yeah, okay. All right, you redeemed yourself somewhat, but like I would have loved to see Nick Klein draw it. All right.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that too, but I thought it was decent. I guess I just got to get to the fact that this is more of a horror comic. It's not going to be kind of moving away from the Hulk that I used to buy, whatever, back in the 80s or 90s. And, once you kind of buy into that, it wasn't so bad here. There's, just some wacky things happening. You still got Bruce traveling with that kid. And I think he ditches the kid, and the kid gets scooped up by whatever the big demon is. I think it's one of the demons or one of the, I don't know, elder spirits that they're talking about in the earlier issues. And the Swamp Thing ends up kind of swallowing up Bruce Banner. And, you think, then he turns into the Hulk and sort of breaks out of the Swamp Thing. But then they're basically in the nexus of reality. So they're almost in, I guess, Swamp Thing's mind or something.
Man-Thing.
Man-Thing. Sorry, my bad. They're in the Man-Thing's nexus of reality where they can talk to each other a little bit easier. And then he's there to warn them about this, the big demon that's coming, the elder of this universe.
Man-Thing, they've established this previously in I think it was in the Thunderbolts like years ago, that Man-Thing actually in that run, he actually acted as a portal for the team because he is like the nexus of realities. Like yeah, that's really cool that he picked up on that, because that was an idea that they threw out about Man-Thing, I think, during a Thunderbolts run like years ago that everyone really dug at the time. So that's interesting that he referenced that whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's how they keep him around. He's like the guardian of the reality of Earth or something, So something big's happening or coming their way, and that's not too bad. At least there wasn't all this singing and stuff like that.
So he was.
Well, I started out that way and go, oh no, not more of this.
Right. So he was talking in this issue.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Because there's I know who the Man-Thing is. His alter ego came out, the Jason, like when they went into their Nexus scape, let's say.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why, because normally Man doesn't talk, like he's mute, essentially. Like,
he would like that's why he sucked them up, and then he like kind of explained the situation. He goes, oh, there's some old force of the Earth is coming, and I'm not strong enough to fight it alone, and I need you, and then okay, we'll see where things go next issue.
Right. Okay.
I'll give it a 3.75. It's better than I thought it'd be.
Nice.
Or at least better than the Hulk has been.
Right. Yeah, I've been struggling with it, but again, I think it's a really good looking book. And like you said, I think you kind of got to buy into the whole fact that this is a horror book, this take on him, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, next up we got Batman the Gargoyle of Gotham #1. Chris, I know you said you were looking to read this, but you didn't get a chance to in time.
Yeah.
I do want to mention There's also there. I didn't buy it. I have it in my pile. I just didn't pick it up for the sake of reading it here today because they're both technically the same story. There is a version of this issue that's just black and white, like the pencils of the artist. So, like, if you were a fan of Raphael Grandpa's art, they put out a special issue this week, I think, to celebrate the fact that it's like, I think this Saturday or something is Batman Day or something. They're putting out like, reprint issues of certain things. They printed this issue with another different variant cover by Raphael Grandpa. And it's just black and white, no color. So again, like for me, I ended up picking up both because I really like this artist. You don't really see too much work from him. And I thought it would look really good just to see the whole black and white kind of arts, like pencils and inks essentially of his work. So I picked up both, but I just don't have the other one here to show you right now. But this was good. It's a bit overridden at times. Raphael Grandpa, I think he's like Brazilian. I think this artist, he's again like very detailed artist, very detail oriented, very unique kind of looking type of style. Unlike anybody really else, he's not the fastest artist in the world. He doesn't put out that much work. I feel like we haven't seen that much stuff produced by him over a long period of time. He's doing, I think this is one of 3 or one of 4 of this Black Label DC book, which it's got Batman basically involved in like a murder mystery type of thing. So it's nothing like, but here's the thing, it's pretty fucking dark, this book. Like, it's dark at times. It's definitely leaning into the whole Black Label type stuff. There's a serial killer essentially running it around in this called what the hell's his name? Crytoon or something like that. It's a stupid name. Yeah, I think it's Crytoon instead of cartoon or something. Like, he's basically this guy who like kills people in the fashion of this cartoon that existed from like back in like, I don't know, like the 50s or so. It's like, like the old Disney cartoons and stuff like that, how they look kind of weird and stuff like that. So like he encounters this whole situation in this building that he's kind of checking out, where there's a bunch of people that he ends up finding that have been killed and forced to kind of, it looks like he's doing like they're it's like a drug, like kind of bust at first. Like they're basically, it looks like they're making drugs, but then he finds out they're not drugs. Like all the ingredients that they actually got all these chemist type people working as chemist type thing, or is that they're making TNT. So then he's like, holy fuck, like no wonder those guys who attacked me when I got in here didn't shoot at me because this whole place will blow up. And then he gets led to this room where he finds this guy that's like some serial killer who's basically killing people in the way that the person killed people in those old cartoons. So say like, like old Bugs Bunny, whatever, any of these old cartoons where they kind of drop anvils on their heads and do this kind of shit. Like he's killing people in these brutal ways like that, which obviously no human could actually survive. It's a cartoon, but he calls himself Crytoon. Like that's what the cartoon was called. And I think that's his name. And like he cries and he's all fucked up before he kills his victims. I don't know. It's really weird and dark, but also really weird. And then like you got Gordon on the case, like he's investigating things that are going on in it. So you get some scenes with him, and then you get some scenes of him and Batman comparing notes at one point. And it kind of feels very familiar, like any Batman story, like darker Batman type story. I feel like we've encountered already in the past, but then it's also like strange, like very strange and weird. And like I said, it is overwritten at times because Raphael Grandpa is mostly known as an artist, not as a writer, but he has written and drawn things before. So I don't know, but the art is so fucking good. Like it is a great looking book. Like, and it's dense. Like you're getting basically like, I think this is an oversized issue, and every issue is going to be oversized. I think it might be coming out like every 2 months, but you're getting basically what I feels like an entire arc, like in one issue of this story so far. Like it's a dense book, like it moves and there's a lot of dialogue and there's a lot there. And sometimes you're kind of wading through some of it, going through some of it, and you're like, I don't know, that's kind of weird. I don't love that. But then there's other really good things, and then you're looking at the art, and the art's really good. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings on this. As a complete package, it's not perfect. It's far from, but it's got a lot of good stuff to offer you. Like you'd be worse off picking like the Batman and Robin issue this week, as much as we really enjoyed the art on that. Like that's very basic compared to what's happening in this book. So this is the one I would have to say you should pick up over the other one, just because it's very outside the norm. Yeah, like this is the villain. This is the villain right here. Like I don't know, I don't know. It's weird and dark, and yeah, definitely worth checking out though, man. Like, and then there's a storyline going in here on in this issue too. There's Alfred in this as well. Bruce Wayne is saying that he wants to kill off the Bruce Wayne persona. Like Batman's like, just address me as Batman over the intercom from now on, because eventually, like, I'm planning right now to like kill the Bruce Wayne's persona, like have him like stage it. I'm gonna stage his death for the public to like, so I can focus like 100% on crime fighting, which is another kind of weird, like, I don't know, like we've seen that before. So like, but like, it's like in this, it's like not even the main focus of the story. He just mentions this in passing. So I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's not perfect, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, and the art is fucking unreal. So I'm really interested in this book to see where it goes. I give this a 4 out of 5. I just can't give it higher just because I have some issues with some of the stuff going on, and I don't love everything in it, but there is a lot to love here. Yeah, so I know that's a very complicated review, but it's a very strange book. Next up, we got Werewolf by Night #1, which I read on a whim online here. Chris, why don't you show off this awesome cover you ended up getting thrown into your pile here?
Yeah, so my LCS, they're sort of kind of fine tuning what my likes and dislikes are, and they thought I'd like this cover, and they were right.
That's an awesome cover. Adam Hughes, right? Very cool.
Yeah, but as for the comic itself, though, these are new characters to me. I'm not familiar with the King of the Wolves, and I think I might have seen some Elsa Bloodstone here and there. Oh, but the art in this one, it was a little bit on the rough side. It looks good on these little stills here on the computer on my phone, but when I was reading the copy, it's like, I don't know, did he send in like the rough draft and they go, okay, this is great, and they just took it and thought that's what it was. But the story itself is pretty decent. I didn't know there's a history between Elsa Bloodstone and the Werewolf by Night, and they play off that a little bit. They're trying to save some girl in a village, and they're kind of playing off. I guess that the villain likes to kill their victims at midnight, so they think they got some time to save this girl. And they get there, and the villain's like, "Oh, too late! I already killed her." And they go, "What do you mean you killed her? You wait till midnight." He goes, "Oh, killing was the prelude. At midnight, this is when what's going to happen happens." And they use the body of the girl as a portal to bring in some demons. And that's where the story kind of goes a little bit sideways, because I guess I forgot what that demon's or the villain's name is like Necronomicon or something like that.
Necromantic, I think it is. I read this.
Yeah, when he has to step out for a minute, and then they sweet talk this demon saying, "Oh, they're he's trying to fool you," and the demon falls for it hook, line, and sinker, and then and they use that to blow up the castle and run away. And then there's some nice moments in the morning when the werewolf or the wolf man or whatever, he turns back into human. He's looking a little dusty, and Elsa Bloodstone's like, "Whoa, you changed since we last met." And they kind of go on their separate ways.
Doesn't like his beard. She's like, "Yeah, I don't know about that beard." She's like, I thought you liked Scruffy. Yeah, Scruffy, but that's a whole other thing with his beard. Oh man, I really enjoyed this. I like
the story, but like that werewolf guy, sometimes it looked like he was just a sketch artist,
No, I think that he colored it or drew it with like pencil crayons, it looks like, or something like that. You're right. Yeah. It is very interesting. No, I like the art. I and like when it's like this, where it's like black and white, it's kind of like
there's some good pages, like that page where they have that girl hanging there and all the demons. Like, okay, this guy can do stuff, but then you got to pay. Like, that's a good page there, but then you have other pages where freaking their eyeballs are freaking they're not they're kind of askew, let's say.
No, I disagree. I really enjoyed the art in this. I hear what you're saying, but like, no, although I didn't read it physically, I read the digital copy, but I am actually going to seek out the issue now, because as a one shot, I actually really enjoyed this, and I'm not familiar with the artist, and I dug it. It kind of made it look like old school, like monster movie kind of black and white type shit at some points, like the coloring and like the look of it. But definitely a very distinct kind of different looking style. I can get like some panels where you said it may have looked a little wonky to you or something like that.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. But I dug it enough that I'm actually gonna go pick up the issue if I can find it now, because I really enjoyed this one shot, because I like these characters. I liked it for what it was. I agree. The only thing that kind of bugged me was how the plot towards the end did kind of go, because at first it was like they were tricking that woman so she would take down the guy, but then it was revealed that the guy actually did plan on taking her out this whole time. So it's like their lie to her turned out to be the case. Like that is actually what he was planning, which I guess didn't really backfire because they still got what they want out of this situation. But then as a result, it kind of left them hanging there and have to get out of that situation, right? But I did like the whole thing about the fact that they referenced that these two used to be an item, and how like their inner monologuing throughout it was just like, oh, she's still really good looking or whatever. He's like, hey, you look good. He's like, you look good. She's like, yeah, I know, thanks, or whatever. And she was just like, I don't know. He smells like dog or something, you know. I kind of liked all the inner monologuing between the two of them, right? It was fun for what it was. So I would like to see if I can find that cover though. I was that a regular price variant, that one, or
I don't know. They just give me the bill at the end. I don't know what comes up. They double charge me. They go, yeah, it's this much. I go, okay, great. You want a bill? No, it's all right, guys. Thanks.
yeah, I'd be surprised. These guys might be watching this show and trying to get tips on you. I mean, we do get some views, so maybe that's where they're going. I mean, like, I know what to sell this guy next week. Oh boy. You're every store's fucking favorite customer, apparently. I'd be lucky to have you. What'd you give this out of 5?
I'll give it a 3.75, though. I did like it.
I'll give it a 4. I dug this. Chris, now you read, you also got foisted Avengers Inc. #1 on your pile this week. I actually wanted to read this, but I didn't get a chance to in time for the show. So what'd you think of this one? Oh, Alex Ross.
I did it because it's a connecting cover to a cover I had before, so they thought I might like it, and I did, so I took it. And I wasn't really looking forward to reading this Avengers Inc. But I had it. I gave it a read. It's not so bad. It's more like a detective type story.
Noir.
You have,
yeah.
pardon me?
Like a noir detective type story. Yeah.
I guess, like a Pulp Fiction detective story. You start out in the raft, and there's some villain that just gets plunked in the head and he dies, and it falls to Janet Van. Is it Janet Van Dyne? I always want to say Janet Van Dyke, but anyway, it turns to the Wasp to be to sort of investigate this murder or the murder. You find out there's 6 of these people died in this high security prison, and I guess Luke Cage sends her there to find out what's going on. Then as she's investigating it, all these people come back to life somehow, and then she's battling them, and then the first person that died, he comes back to life in the end, and he was supposed to be some sort of speedster. I think his name was Quicksilver, or not Quicksilver. I don't know, something to do with moving fast, and then he starts phasing in and out of people. But he says he's doing that just because he's either moving so quick or moving so slow. He's fighting some of these other villains. He turns his hand to a diamond almost, and head. Oops. And then while they're fighting, this character that came back from the dead, he says his name is Victor Shade, I think.
Okay.
And Vic Shade is an alias for Vision. So once the Wasp hears that, she's like, "Whoa, I gotta find out what's going on with this. This guy, came out of nowhere, and he thinks he's the Vision." And that's where that story sort of ends. She kind of tells the Ward he needs to take, even though that the guy's dead or not, she needs to take the body back to a Avengers headquarters. So you see some of that going on, and then the epilogue, you kind of see who the villain or who is setting all these pieces in place, and it turns out it was Hank Pym, or not Hank, Henry Pym,
yeah,
or it's Dr. Pym. That's what because he's go, "Hey Doc, you think you messed up here," and he goes, "Oh, you don't call me Doc, you call me Dr. Pym." And then that was the big reveal at the end. So,
which is her ex-husband.
Yeah, that's what I imagine it is. So,
yeah, that's Janet's husband.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out. I was planning on it. And if I liked it, I was gonna trade weight it. But I was planning on reading it digitally. This is Al Ewing in this book, right? Like I like
Yeah.
his stuff for the most part. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, all right.
No, it wasn't too bad. It's better than I thought it'd be, and I don't know if I'll be continue on buying the series, but I'll definitely probably try and read it, see where this goes here, especially
What
with the
you
vision in play. I gotta give it a 3.75 because I thought it was decent, but not great.
yeah, nice. Uh yeah, Leonard Kirk on art on this book, which he's the guy that drew my Doctor Doom that I showed off on the show. All these artists I got
You
art
get
from.
everything's coming full circle for you.
All right. All right. And lastly here this week, I got Creep Show Volume 2, number 1, which is the return of Creep Show, this miniseries that Image took over last year. They did a miniseries for Creep Show, which I think they were promoting the television show of Creep Show. Of course, I guess Stephen King's Creep Show. They did a show, I guess, last year that they were promoting. So Image or Skybound in particular, the Image, an imprint on Image, which is Robert Kirkman's imprint. They did a 4-issue miniseries last year. Now they're coming back just in time for Halloween this time of year, this season, with another Creep Show miniseries of 4 issues. And this is like an anthology, or it might be 5 issues actually, maybe not 4. This is an anthology. It's like, all different creators, 2 short stories every issue. Overall, I thought the last one was pretty successful. Like, not gonna love every story, but for the most part, I enjoyed more than I disliked of them. And this is, I mean, they seem to always put their best talent first for the first issue. This was a fucking pretty good issue. The first story, you have Garth Ennis writing it and Becky Cloonan on art. And then the second story was written and drawn by Phil Hester. So it's actually pretty good creative teams. And on the second issue, they've already announced that Michael Walsh is doing a story that he's writing and drawing. And Michael Walsh was the guy that used to do that Silver Coin series for Image Comics that I was a really big fan of. That was a horror anthology. So like, I'm interested to see what he does with this, if he's going to be doing one of the stories. My favorite was the first story in here, the Garth Ennis one, though, because it dealt with a guy who keeps seeing like basically unborn fetuses. So like, he'll go to like sneeze or take a shit or like throw up, any sort of bodily function, an undead like bloody fetus will like appear all of a sudden. Sorry, dead, like unborn. Sorry, not dead, undead. Unborn fetus kind of will appear, and no one else can see it. Like, he called his wife in, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And she like looked, and then they show the panel, and you don't see anything there, so it's like just him that's stripping out and seeing this. And then you find out more about the guy as the story goes on. Like, he's a guy that's like very well known in the church. And apparently he's this guy that picket signs outside abortion clinics and like is very pro-choice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's very against abortion, not pro-choice. He's very against that kind of thing and all this kind of stuff. And then by the end of it, I'm going to spoil the twist here for you guys because it's pretty interesting. So like, just jump ahead if you don't want to be spoiled by this. It's pretty fucked up. You find out that he actually did abort a baby because he starts talking to this. He doesn't understand why him of all people is being haunted by this specifically. And he's like, why me? Why are you doing this to me? What did I do? And then the thing basically says to him, like the little baby, like he hears this voice saying, Jessica, it's because of Jessica. And Jessica's his daughter. And I guess back at some point, their daughter, when she was younger, he secretly got her an abortion, and he blamed her high school football team guy that she was in love with, her boyfriend, to the wife. But it turns out it was him who fucking impregnated his daughter. So that's pretty fucked up. I know, but it was, again, like the hammer of the fucked up ending to this type of story and why he was being haunted because he was a piece of shit. And then the wife basically takes him to fucking task at the end of this, and it looks like she ends up killing him, right? And then you get the kind of the horror host type creep, like, creep show type guy at the end, kind of like, oh yeah, I guess he had that coming, or you know what I mean? Like something like that.
Yeah.
I like that shit. I mean, like, again, like, so yeah, it's not, not for everybody. It was pretty dark. Garth Ennis, known for that kind of stuff. So like, I was kind of half expecting it, but like, it was really creepy. Like, there were some scenes where you just see like a shitload of the the unborn like fetuses, and they're all like yelling stuff to him, like feed me, clothe me, raise me, like shit like that. And this guy's like, what the fuck? You know what's going on? So, anyways, that was my favorite story of the issue. The other one was all right too. The backup by Phil Huster. It's about like, I don't know, he's a paleontologist and his mother dies, and then like something happens where he has to dig up some stuff, and you know, kind of goes off the rails from there. So I gave this a 4, mostly based on that first story because it was pretty fucked up. Good art by Becky Cloonan, and yeah, I think this is a good debut issue. I'm really looking forward to the next one with Michael Walsh. All right, well, that's going to do it for books that we wanted to talk about this week, guys, that we read. Actually not too much. I feel like we covered it with the stuff that Chris talked about, like the Avengers Inc. And like those are a couple of books I didn't have time to read before we started here. But otherwise, yeah, I think we covered it for the most part. Not a bad week. But Chris, what are you looking forward to checking out next week? You got your
I got a list here. So out of Marvel, I think we got Alpha Flight 2. I'm not sure if I got Captain America 1 or not, but we have Dark X-Men, Predator versus Wolverine, Amazing Spider-Man 34, Uncanny Avengers 2, and maybe Wolverine 37. And let's see what we're getting out of DC. I think The World's Finest 19. I got that Nick Cage cover. Good thing I bought that before I saw the movie, because if I saw that Flash movie, I wouldn't have bought this cover. But that's another story. I might have Catwoman, probably reading Joker, White Knight Presents. Let's see. Got Nightwing 106. I think I got a variant cover there. Superman 6 and Wonder Woman #1. Looking forward to that one too.
Yeah. So next week is like a fucking huge week for me. This is like the biggest week I think in some time. We're talking like a 20-book week or something, it looks like for me. So I don't know when that next week's episode is going to actually get released, but we'll see about this one. So this is probably that with DC back, and I guess just a lot of new things starting after like many like smaller weeks. This is going to be a big one. Okay, so these are things I'm picking up physically. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, like Chris said there, I think it's 19. Batman, White Knight Presents Generation Joker, #5. Harley Quinn, Black, White, and Red are #3. Nightwing 106. Titans #3. Wonder Woman #1, which I'm really looking forward to. Like you said, the Tom King one. I think I got the Art Germ cover for that. I'm not sure. Then you got Amazing Spider-Man #34. Captain America #1. Fish Flies #2, which was supposed to come out this week, but they got pushed back a week because I mentioned it last week when we talked about this. Kaya 11. I got a Kirby Star Warriors, which is like, I think some artist is redoing, essentially Tom Scioli is redoing some old Kirby comics. He's coming out with a one-shot. Predator versus Wolverine #1, which I'm really actually looking forward to as well. I want to see what that's all about. Uncanny Avengers #2. And then digitally, these are ones I might also check out if I have time next week. We got Big Game #3. Definitely going to check that out.
Oh, yeah, I'm buying that one for sure.
Yeah, Superman #6. Green Lantern War Journal #1 starts next week. I might check that out. And then you got some other X-Men books I might read digitally, like Chris mentioned previously, Alpha Flight 2, Dark X-Men 2, Wolverine 37. So yeah, that's a fucking record week right there. That's a huge week of a lot of really good stuff. We'll see what happens with that. So make sure to tune in, guys. Will be a longer one next week for sure. All right, Chris, our favorite book of the week. What do you got?
All right, let's see here. Been a quiet week, none of my usual suspects, but I'm gonna give it to Venom. Got Doctor Doom, Kang, Eddie Brock, all good.
Yeah, good pick. Good pick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm conflicted this week. I don't know which one to go between here. I don't know. It's either between Batman the Gargoyle of Gotham or Werewolf by Night #1, actually, because I had a lot of fun with that book.
That was a fun story.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with Werewolf by Night #1. I had a really fun time with that one, and it's made me want to go pick up the issue. I didn't pre-order it. I read it digitally, but it did make me want to go read the issue, and I think it's more focus than this one. This said, I mean, if I was going off art alone, this is the pick, guys. This is definitely worth your time. Definitely check this out. But I also had some reservations about some of the story in this, and it was a bit weird. So like, it's almost like I definitely want to see what happens next. But since I do have some issues with some stuff in this one, I actually didn't really have as many issues with Werewolf by Night, because I think for what it was, as a one shot, it gave me everything I was looking for, I feel like, with these characters. So yeah, I'm gonna go Werewolf by Night number 1. I'm surprised this week, but yeah, that's the pick. So there you go, there you have it. That's gonna do it for this week, guys. But Chris, thank you as always a fun time, and once again, cheers everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, cheers.